I'm anxious right now. Talking to y'all, I'm anxious right now. Hey y'all, so I'm just putting the finishing touches on my makeup. I actually just tried the Milk makeup for the first time and I love it. I just didn't realize that it was a radiant finish, which I typically don't do. I typically only do matte. So I'm getting used to seeing the radiance on my face. So I'm just going in with some powder and just trying to mattify it, if that makes sense. But I just wanted to come chat with y'all and say I'm very grateful for all of my new subscribers, and also I just wanted to talk a little bit about what 2025 did for me, what it meant for me, and what I learned. And so I feel like, and I talk about this all the time, that I've been on more of a spiritual journey, if that makes sense. Like just coming into myself, finding myself. I just made 35. If y'all could act surprised, I would greatly appreciate that. Because people tell me all the time that they can't believe that I'm like in my mid 30s. Like I'm literally closer to 40 than I am 30, and that is insane. But you know, as you grow up, you realize how fast time goes by. But regardless, like this year I moved further away from like my friends and family. I live in Houston. I'm from Louisiana, but I've been living here since 2017, and I've always lived relatively close to my friends. Not necessarily my family, because they're all the way on the north side, and I've always lived on the south side since I've lived here. But I've always been somewhat close to my friends. And I don't know, like this year, at the beginning of this year, I found a deal at this apartment where I basically got a 2-bedroom for the price of one, essentially, because I was moving from a 1-bedroom to a 2-bedroom, and the 2-bedroom was the same price. So I was like, oh girl, you can't beat that with a bag, because I'm all about saving money. Anybody who knows me knows that I'm a very frugal girl, okay? Anyway, so yeah, I just feel like I went through a period of isolation. I left my job and started a new job, which I ended up not liking. And I ended up going back to my old job, and they started to piss me off a little bit too. But that's neither here nor there. But it was just like a season of me like just doing things that I hadn't done before, and like stepping out on faith and trusting God, trusting in the process. And a lot of amazing things happened. I lost my dog of 8 years in March. Rest in peace, Nala. That's my baby. You know, I'm finally getting to a point where I cannot be super emotional about it. Like anybody who's lost a pet, especially a dog, like y'all know, you know, because they look at you like you their whole world. Like, and so I'm finally getting to a point where I can kind of sleep good, because I don't know, like she was just my comfort, you know. Dating has been
Be nice. I'm finding it
crazy. I have to tell y'all about all the ins and outs one of these days, but just surface level, like, you know, the men just wasn't cutting it. They just were not cutting it. Like at the end of the day, I feel like I had to isolate. I had to raise my vibration. And by doing that entailed like knowing my worth, you know, like if I was talking to a guy, for example, I was talking to a guy last year, found out he was a liar pretty early on, cut it off. And then there was another guy. He also was a liar, child.
Lies, lies, and more lies, and lies on top of lies.
Not that's a constant. I'm attracting liars. Am I a liar? No. But anyway, and then there was another guy who I really, really liked him, and it just didn't work out because I just felt like he had too many demons. He just had a lot of stuff that I felt like he was battling. And you know, like when a man started breadcrumbing you and then you start to become like somewhat codependency, I feel like I have a anxious attachment style, and he was more of an avoidant. So it was like we was bound to like butt heads or, you know, have some type of conflict. But eventually, you know, we just stopped talking. And then months later, he popped back up. And I just realized in that moment, like, you know, I deserve better than this. Like, and that's just what it was. So I played around with it for like a week or so. And then after that, I just blocked him.
Sorry to this man.
I had wrote down my manifestations for the year. And I had wrote down that I wanted a Mercedes. So no particular one. I just wanted a Mercedes. I don't know why. It was just something I wrote down. I put that I wanted a Mercedes. I wanted a job making a certain amount of money. That I wanted a new apartment, and all of these things that I got. And literally, y'all, when it came to me getting my car, it was just so much nonsense.
Bitch.
And I feel like in going through those situations, I was raising my vibration without even realizing it. And so then I would notice, I would look at myself and I would look different. Like I would look at myself and I'm like, girl, you pretty. You real pretty today. And I feel like that's because my light from inside was shining outward, and the work that I was doing on myself was really, really showing through my, physical appearance. I got in therapy for the first time this year, and I'm just so very proud of myself. I ended up buying a new car, but I got into a car accident in April. So I got into a car accident in April, and it was my fault. We're not gonna talk about that. We ain't got to go into that, but just know it was my fault. So here I am worried, thinking my insurance gonna skyrocket, all of these things. I got to get my car fixed. I got to pay the deductible. I got to do this, do that. I'm going to a job that I don't necessarily care for. I'm wondering if I made the right decision leaving my job. And then I would just have to constantly remind myself, like, God is in control. He has never left you nor forsaken me. So I just had to like shake it off and just push through. I got approved for a Mercedes C300, but it wasn't the one that I really, really wanted. The one that I really, really wanted was like $5,000 more. But mind you, like I told you before, your girl is cheap. So I didn't know if I wanted to go through with it. And so I transferred the one that I got approved for. And then I just so happened, I was still looking at the other one because I wanted it bad. I'm gonna put a picture of it right here. But I wanted it bad, and it went down $1,000. I ended up getting approved for the car. Basically, I feel like it was so important for me to go through that process and buy this car. And I'm not a super materialistic person. I do like nice things, don't get me wrong, and I will treat myself. But I feel like me buying that car was so important because it helped me to get out of that survival mindset and that lack mindset that we tend to get into whenever we are, the type of people who grew up, in poverty, or where you didn't have much, very humble beginnings. And you feel like you got to hold on to something so you don't lose it type of mentality. And I feel like me doing that kind of changed my mindset, and it kind of shifted my perspective of there are things that you absolutely deserve. And you should not feel bad about wanting nice things. And money will always come and go. It will always come and go. And you cannot allow it to like control your mindset and control your life in the way that it has. And so like, that's just something that I'm very grateful for. And then another thing that I did that I'm just so proud of myself of this year, I started my YouTube journey. I started my social media journey. One thing that I've always been afraid of is allowing people to see me like fully, 100%, like for me to be vulnerable. I'm an only daughter. I guess you could say I'm the oldest daughter in that sense, because my brother, he's older than me, but I very much took on the role of only daughter, oldest daughter, where I took care of everything. I made sure everything was good. Everybody was straight. And I didn't feel like anybody had done that for me. And it wasn't anything, I guess, intentional. It's just because I was the child that kind of always never got in trouble, always, was on the honor roll, never really gave anybody any issues. So nobody had to worry about me. But in nobody worrying about me, nobody worried about me. So, all love to my family. Like, it's nothing like that. It's just me speaking on my experience. But because of that, I never really felt like I had anybody to go to. So I would go inward to myself. And I think that's what kind of created a lot of anxiety and depression and things in me at an early age. But like I said, y'all, I'm in therapy now. So I'm very proud of myself, but I also have somebody else to kind of put the burden on, if that makes sense. But my mindset has just shifted this year. I'm coming into the things that I know I deserve, and it's so healing. And I'm single. I told y'all in the beginning that we got some tea, and I'll kind of tell y'all as time goes on, because it's a bit much. But it really put in perspective like me getting the things that I deserve. And so I'm definitely like only going to go upwards, because like I'm telling you, when you do the work to raise your vibration and leave things behind that no longer serve you, you genuinely look at people, at situations, at everything so differently. And things that you thought that you would be so attracted to, things you couldn't let go, things that you could never separate yourself from, it don't even look the same. Like certain people, when your vibration starts to raise and theirs is still lower, like you don't even feel the need to have them in your space anymore. It's so easy to let people like that go once you start doing the work. but you have to do the work. And I feel like that's something I genuinely learned in 2025. So that's something that I'm forever grateful for. Don't get me wrong, your girl ain't perfect. I'm still learning. I still struggle with anxiety and things like that. I'm anxious right now. Talking to y'all, I'm anxious right now. No, for real I am. But I'm aware of it and I'm getting better. And the reason why I'm anxious right now is because I have to move in a few months. And I'm trying to get my credit where it needs to be so I don't have to pay no crazy deposit. It's a lot that I had to do. It's a lot that I went through this year, but I'm so grateful. Again, grateful for y'all, to my new subscribers. And we going up. So like I said, or maybe I didn't say, I'm really dedicating myself to lifestyle, to beauty, to self-love, to self-care, to positivity, to inspiration, and just, doing a damn thing. Like, that's it. And so this is me being vulnerable with y'all. And like I said, we're going to have more discussions like this. But thank y'all for tuning in. I really, really appreciate y'all. Share this video and let me know, like, what did you go through in 2025 and how did it shape you, for 2026? I can't wait to hear it. Bye.